All right, so what this is effectively saying is if we want to decrease the width dimensions under this bylaw beyond what commercial zoning already allows for, we would need to quantify it within the bylaw. But if we feel comfortable that 50 is fine, then we don't have to quantify.
Yeah,
That's how I read it out.
Yeah, so
Where they
I think we
where
would
they
want
get
to
in
trouble
trouble
there.
is when you increase the density, you didn't specifically allow within the bylaw language quantifying to what you can increase that density.
So like the
That's
whole
the point.
the whole legalese behind it is just insane because everybody knows what we're intending to do, but it's like trying to prevent a gotcha or something. It's ridiculous.
Sure, but we want to as
But
close
it's,
as possible.
but, so we just want to do the,
Then I like
we just
this.
want to do the density, the percentage of coverage, the 10% and the 8 units per acre, and
Well, we could talk about that, but
the 8 to 10.
we could talk about it.
Okay, that's fine. But, yeah.
I'll save my good material for that.
For the camera,
Yeah,
the spitting.
yeah. I don't want to. I don't want
Eric, do you feel like town council addressed your questions, or?
Yeah. The need for needing to actually
Quantify it.
specify
Yeah, okay,
a limit. I guess. Yeah. But
okay.
now it's the actual number
Right,
and what we intend. What we potentially want there.
Well, the 10%, what is the 10%?
That's
that's
coverage.
building coverage.
Building coverage.
That's already in there, right?
That's already.
Oh, but so say you
You
have-
increased it from 8% to 10%.
That was part of the original.
That's fine. Just, I mean, say you have a 10-acre area, you can have 44,000 square foot building.
No. I just remember, like in the models, I think Cynthia and MAPC had a hard time getting more than
So the question,
8 per acre.
well, the question
Even,
is,
like,
the
townhouses.
main question is, do you want what the 40B is gonna be, which is like little cottage style type things that cost $500,000, or do you want a potential apartment building? If you want a potential apartment type building, not something ugly box, something that would fit in the town, then
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
8 per acre won't.
You're limiting yourself.
You're limiting yourself. And really the
There's
only
good arguments on both ends.
But I think when they plotted it out with like parking requirements
Yeah.
and the whole thing, they were having trouble
Going
getting up to 10%
Yeah.
coverage, density or coverage.
Yeah.
And they were having trouble getting, above maybe 6 or 7. 8 was a stretch. But we can-
That's fun shoveling the stairs.
I know, I saw that.
Part of your duties?
that should be.
Now we're gonna have to repeat this for the
Yeah, I
camera.
know.
Oh, there's the code.
Of course.
Ah, so
We have some more in the car since I'm.
call this meeting to order.
Right.
Welcome, John. So,
No John Ritchie today, or?
Did you get my email?
I did get your email,
it's in
thank you.
Nashville.
I thought John
Is he?
was gonna be here, but I don't know.
It's all right, we'll get 2 out of 3 Johns.
That's a quorum, James.
That is a quorum of John's.
Open your hearing.
Yep, so in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 5, notice is hereby given that the Bolton Planning Board is holding a public hearing on Wednesday, February 11th, 2015 at 7:30 PM in Town Hall, 663 Main Street, Bolton, to consider and receive comments from interested parties concerning the articles to appear on the warrant for the annual town meeting, which will be held on Monday, May 4th, 2015. The articles are summarized as follows. So Article 1, we have amendment to the code of the town of Bolton to amend zoning bylaw. This is related to the mixed use village overlay district. And Article 2 is just a zoning map official zoning map for the mixed-use overlay. And Article 3 is related to defining terms related to. Do you want to talk about, kind of lead us through this, Erica? Or-
Sure. Article 1 has to do with quantifying the density within the mixed-use village overlay district bylaw. We did receive input from town council. We have new town council, who is American O'Connell. And basically, per Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 9, the Zoning Act, if we want to do a density bonus type bylaw like the mixed-use village overlay, we basically need to quantify what the density will be. So that's really where that stems from.
So, what is,
So what he's saying, yeah, so just, I mean, my first concern previous weeks was that I don't understand how, for instance, one of the properties includes residential, how that residential underlay could, the density can come up to the overlay. But I guess he's saying that, if you don't specifically specify a density, then somebody could argue that. So,
yeah, it could be contested, which would delay.
yeah.
And we don't want, if somebody comes with a great proposal, we don't want it to get delayed by,
So, I mean, my contention was that we don't need to put anything because the overlay is what it is, but according to this, okay, so we have to set some maximum density number to wash out, whatever was previously there, to set the limit.
Yep. So,
So the question is the number.
yeah, so we already in the overlay, we have a maximum lot coverage of 10%, which was up from 8%.
Yeah.
So it's really just
How many
the,
ways we can divide that 10%?
So it's
it's just, I think, the number of housing units per
the density of
acre.
the housing, yeah. And so,
Be specific about that.
so what it comes down to is, what do we want to see? If we want to see $500,000 cottages, a couple per acre or something, then fine. But I think a developer who wants to use this overlay will have a little business area, but will potentially want to have a fairly dense housing area, whether it's a couple of rows of townhouses or garden-style condos, which, in the greater scheme of things, I think Bolton really needs a one-bedroom, two-bedroom. To be a little more inclusive in town, not everybody can afford a $500,000 house, so, and even the 40B, if you don't qualify for the 40B housing, those things are gonna cost upper $400,000, $500,000. So it wouldn't hurt to have some condo-type things. So if we go, is that gonna be big enough to get some smaller units in this one area of town that would potentially allow for it?
Yeah, no, we definitely talked about having, studio apartments, granny
Right.
flats, they're called.
Right.
Different types of housing. Basically, it's attached, two-story, residential in the first and the second story. So
the whole, another general point is the overlay was kind of setting a guideline where, we can't really envision everything that a developer would come forward with. So come to us with your plan, and then, we'll weigh it based on all the guidelines of the design review board and the special permit, and, approve it based off that. So I think by limiting the number to 8, which, maybe it will not, based on septic and the layout of land and stuff, maybe it won't even get to that anyway. But, if there is a development where there was a chance for, a building with 10 condo, one bedroom or two bedroom units, I think we're limiting ourselves by doing that. So if we want to take that number, and I don't even know what the right number is, but if you want a bigger number, like 16, not saying we'd ever have 16, but maybe, you know,
Well, I think in the models that MAP had trouble getting up to 8 housing units per acre.
Now, is that
I have no
individual housing?
problem, going up to
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
The issue is,
Yeah.
are people gonna have a problem with that?
Well, the thing is, do you want,
Going up to 2, somebody's gonna complain, so that's not necessarily,
the question is, do people, are people against condo apartments? I mean, is that not allowed to be in Bolton? Are you not allowed to have a 1-bedroom apartment or a 2-bedroom apartment where some kid's out of school, or a 2-bedroom apartment where, people who've lived in town for 40 years can't afford the house anymore and they want to stay in Bolton and maybe they move to a 2. Do we not want to have that?
I know, but it's a whole balance, for these lots, it's, first of all, in the overlay, there's a balance between commercial and
Correct.
residential. Then, just based on the square footage, it's the number of parking spots, and then also, there are all sorts of calculations, so,
Yeah.
I think, I'm up for going up to 10.
Yeah.
I think-
But that number's kind of random in your head.
No, it isn't, it isn't. They
Where did
did.
8 come from? From those,
This
So
came from
Regency is very dense, and that's 6 per acre.
okay.
But that's like a different style of housing. I'm just thinking.
No, that's attached, those are attached. Some
Row
are,
townhouses.
most of them are 1-story,
Yeah.
maybe the ones along
Mhm.
117 are 2-story, but those, so just imagine Regency
Yeah.
with a second story.
Now, in my example of
Um,
2 sets of 5 townhouses, 10 is a good number. Like, because I don't really see how that would really work out, other, an acre, how you could fit more than that.
mhm.
But I'm just saying, do we want to disallow potential 2-story,
No, it's all
I don't
in
know how
there,
to go
you
with that.
can have 2-story, it's all in the overlay, you can do that.
but
It's
with
just-
10, I mean, that's really not a very big,
No, it is. They,
And then
they
they-
had trouble
Well, it
getting
is.
to 8.
huh?
for Bolton it is. I know.
Regency is what, Crystal Springs?
Yeah,
Yes.
the old-
Okay, and you're saying that front line, some of the stuff up by 117?
I don't know if that new, the one they put in last, I don't know if that's
Okay.
2-story, those are like duplexes. but-
Okay.
But I just remember, when this was, when Doug was working on this,
So again, this,
6, he said that was 6, and
Yeah.
that seemed like a lot.
so this,
Um,
this number isn't saying, come on in and build this size. This is just setting a max limit to fit the legal requirement of having some number,
We also,
Oh,
the
oh.
planning board don't need to grant the maximum number for any given
that's,
application.
that's my
They
point.
could come in with a plan and say, well, this is maximum 10, here's our plan with a maximum of 10, and we say, we just don't
That's my
like it.
point.
This is way
My-
too dense for Bolton, make it 6.
Well, that's my point. Just because we're saying a bigger number, there is like like ridiculous high number just to meet the legalese requirement of you weren't specifying it before and now you are.
We want to specify a number that's the most we could imagine on any plot of land with a perfect plan. So we have all our bases covered. So if someone comes in with a great plan for 10 and say, wow, that's a wonderful plan, but we only allow 8, so we're out of luck. We
That's my
wanna-
exact point.
We want to cover our bases.
That's my exact point. So it's like, that number I think should be big, bigger than we think would be allowed. Not particularly saying we're gonna allow that, but we don't wanna exclude some potential plan in the future that we can't envision now.
Yeah, but on the other hand, we don't want to throw out too large a number, because you've been in enough town meetings
I
to
know.
know how that, anything new generates fear.
Yeah. It's really a meaningless number. It's just a legal requirement, personally, is what I think.
No,
Probably meaningless, but-
it does mean something, so, I mean,
Well, it means
we
something.
can, look at those models again. If you could pull those up from
But
NAPC.
even if we said it was 100, it wouldn't, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if, it's still the entire same process. It's just a number to, for the legal requirement of setting a density. Is all,
I know, but everybody has to feel good about that number, so throwing a number in
They
there
feel good
like
about it
6.
now.
That passed because there was a lot of work and a lot of compromise by a lot of different people, so like throwing a number in there like 16 that's just gonna kind of open it up. We wanna get something in there that we can just get this settled and move on. Unless you want it to be kind of this open issue, I just, do we have to settle this at this meeting?
I have the schedule right here. Let's see. According to the schedule, last day to hold all hearings related to articles is February 18th. So technically, yes, but I think if the board feels that it's necessary to continue it, there may be some flexibility there.
Or we could all throw out our favorite number, add them up, divide by 4, and take, round it.
That's the thing, I mean, I could throw out a number.
We'll go around. I feel comfortable.
Someone throws out 200.
I feel
just write the
comfortable with
high and
10.
the low.
I think 10's, higher than, I think Doug was in the 6 to 8 range.
Well, can I ask you something though? So do you want, or would you want a 2-story condo apartment, would say 6 apartments on each floor? Would you want that in Bolton?
That's part of the overlay, that there could be.
Well, yeah, but if you're saying 10, what I just said wouldn't be allowed.
No, that's not true.
That's per acre. So if you had
Well, that would be less than an acre.
2-story 50 unit, but you had it on a sufficiently large number of acres, then it would still be in compliance. It's not per structure, it's per acre over the plot of land. And
So you're saying what you can add, but no, that's coverage you're talking about. Density is, actually how much per acre.
This is gonna be very dense for Bolton.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but you're still thinking cottage style, townhouse style.
The Regency is like, if you added a second story on all those buildings and had like an apartment upstairs above the downstairs, that would be a village. That would be pretty dense.
also,
Have you
if you
driven
recall,
through there? You have to think about the
one
parking.
of the
You'd have to
ideas
double the
for the
parking.
mixed use was retail underneath and residential up above. So,
That residential.
let's scare the neighbors at home and say, we'll take a CVS and put apartments on top,
Yeah.
regardless of whether that makes any sense or not. But you could fit a pretty good number of units up there.
Yeah.
But again, if it's on 1 acre, that'd be too much. If it's on 5 acres, maybe not so bad. It looks pretty empty.
Yeah.
It's all scale.
Yeah, just my general point of this number is, it is just to meet a legal requirement, and ultimately, nothing changes with the overlay. Somebody still has to come forward with, we have this plan for this many units, and if,
It's an outside bound, but it does set a theme, I think, for developers who are reading the code and saying, this is what we can get away with under the bylaw.
yeah.
So the current bylaw has how many?
For the density,
How
It's
many
1 per
units?
80,000.
it's, 1 per 80,000 square feet.
Yeah.
1.8.
It's different than,
That's the current residential,
Yeah.
but in the
Right.
overlay, what is the?
it doesn't set it.
It's not specified.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't.
By special permit, it can be increased above and beyond the density, but it
Yeah.
doesn't, we don't.
So the whole point of this discussion is, the overlay committee and the planning board said, so you have 10%, a mix of business and residential, and just come to us with, and we'll figure it out. What the lawyers are saying is, if you don't specifically specify density for residential, somebody could come and argue that the 1 per 80,000 holds even in the overlay, which I don't think makes
And by
sense.
granting more density than that, you
Yeah.
erred, sure.
Yeah, so by setting a number, you're meeting the lawyer's needs for clarification. But that's just a bound, like you said. The process is still the process. I don't know.
So where do we want our theoretical bound?
Yes, yeah.
I'm fine with 10 if just comping it based off of our most dense project now at the Regency is probably in the area of 5 or 6. This is.
If if you wanna,
Regency
take
is also
time to
clustered,
like,
So it seems denser than it really is over the whole plot.
Sure.
This philosophically, like, I think Doug Story sent in the email that we read in the previous planning board meetings, what type of housing do you want? Do you just want townhouses? Do you want a two-story condo apartment type thing? What do you want?
I think you want to see, I think I want to see proposals that encompass all of the above.
Yeah.
And have the, to your point, have the flexibility of looking at the merits of the
Yeah,
proposal.
so,
it's just, if you're gonna go with a really big number, you're basically opening. the
I
argument.
understand.
I understand
So
your
you
point.
need
Yeah.
to like know what you're
Yeah.
doing,
Yeah.
because, it's
All right.
all about compromise. And
so I would say 12 then. How about a 12
I just,
apartment unit would be the max per acre? I don't know.
I
So then
just
I'll
don't
say
know
8,
where,
So we all average to 10.
I don't know where you're getting, 12 from. I think,
I'm just-
if you really want to slow this down, you have to go back and look at the MAPC models
Yeah.
for
I understand,
all
yeah.
three of the sites. I think
Hey,
that we're
most-
having trouble.
Most of those models, what they kind of showed was, from what I remember, even from the artistic renderings, was like 2 rows of 5 townhouses, 2 sets of 5 kind of townhouses, sort of is
But
what.
that's as dense as they could get with the
I
requirements.
understand.
and
Well, but you can go second 2-story and maybe have,
You
if you
can't
want
go
to.
above that. You can't
because of
have
parking.
more than 2.
No, because of maximum
The height
height of
restrict-
structure.
So,
I don't know, I would just hate that, if somebody came with a good plan, if we said 10 for 12, then what do we do? Then we have to have what?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but, you need a
I guess I
number
could divide it up.
and there's no way you're gonna, well, even selling 10 at town meeting, even with the fact that, okay, without the 10 engraved in stone as it were, right now, with the right proposal, we could put in 400,
Yeah, we could.
in theory, but,
But,
you know.
not really, because septic and.
You remember how when we were trying to limit the areas of town where they could potentially put a marijuana facility, how people were freaking out, although before that, they could put it anywhere. So, no limit is limited enough,
I mean, I
even when you have no
just-
limit to begin with. It's a tough sell.
I mean, if the number's 10, if that's what you guys want, then that's what I would too, but.
Applicant for our 8 o'clock hearing,
I was
should
just
we
gonna- yeah.
continue this hearing?
We can continue the hearing, or what I would prefer to do is open the other hearing and continue that one until the current business is completed, because I think we can at least vote on the other 2 articles, or the board can vote on the other 2 articles, and I'd like to get that done
very
tonight.
quickly.
Okay.
Okay. So we started late. So this is the Applewood construction.
Yes.
In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 11, notice is hereby given that the Bolton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, February 11th, 2015 at 8 in the Board of Selectmen room at the Town Hall, 663 Main Street, Bolton, Mass. to hear and act upon the application of Applewood Construction, 92 Middlesex Road, Unit 3, Tingsboro, Mass. 01879. The applicant is seeking a backland lot special permit and a common driveway special permit pursuant to Section 250-13 and Section 250-17 of the Code of the Town of Bolton respectively. The property is located at and adjacent to 147 Long Hill Road, identified on Assessor's Map 4, Period D as Parcel 52, and Assessor's Map 3, Period D as Parcel 33.1 in Bolton's residential zoning district. So we have Ducharme and Billis here to the presentation.
Jonathan, did we want to continue this hearing until we
yeah,
finish
sorry.
the current business?
So do we have a motion to continue the Applewood hearing after we finish up with the
I'll make a motion to continue the Applewood hearing after we finish up the bylaw proposals. meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye. Any against? So, so the change to the mixed-use overlay, so it sounds like we have an agreement that 10 housing units per acre. So for G, increase the building density for residential use to a maximum of 10 housing units per acre. We have
Make a motion that we accept 10 as our magic number for maximum housing density for mixed-use overlay.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? So then we just have a map to approve.
Before we do that though, let's have one more motion to approve the article, endorse the article to be passed at town meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve and endorse Article 1 to be passed at town meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Okay, so we finally have a map drawn up by Ducharme and Dillis. Outlines the specific parcels.
See.
Next is village overlay. So this is the outlined area. And those are the parcels. So do we have, what went to town meeting last time? In terms of
In terms of the parcel numbers or as part of the
yeah,
overlay?
kind of a description.
I- Basically, in the bylaw itself, we just outlined the parcels that were
Okay.
included in the overlay. So now we're just actually updating the zoning map to show those parcels in the overlay.
Okay. Everybody look at that?
So if everyone's happy with the map, we can just make a motion to,
Yeah, there's no change from what was listed in the overlay. It's just-
no, it's just shown in a graphical format now. So,
I'd like to make a motion to accept the updated town zone base map.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any against?
and then we should probably have a motion to approve and endorse the article for town meeting.
Make a motion to approve and endorse, this is Article 2,
Yes.
to be passed at town meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? So Article 3 is just related to the definitions of kennels. Yeah, anybody wanted to talk about that?
And that's if we want to talk about the first one, but I guess it's open now.
Well, in the new town council's letter, it mentions a recommendation that we reference the possibility of the agricultural exemption that's provided by Mass General Law. So just add this section E. It says this section, blah, 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 shall not apply to a use that qualifies for the agricultural exemption. And just kind of an informational thing. Any thought about that?
So you're just recommending that we add that?
Yeah.
Agricultural use, what would that be? Approximately?
I don't know.
So basically, town council is saying that he recommends no change to the kennel bylaw. So he's saying that we don't need to add the definitions. That's basically what he's saying. So I would recommend a motion just to table the article and that it not be approved for town meeting.
So this came up because our
This-
last town council said we needed to define it.
That's my understanding, yes,
Or-
per the AG's letter from after last town meeting.
What do you think about tabling Article 3?
I'm okay with the table. Unless they can present.
It's fine.
Okay, then, I would recommend a motion to table the article and not approve it for town meeting.
I mean, the only reason why we were doing it is because the last lawyer said to do it, so say not to do it.
Well, the attorney general.
I'm gonna give them a new attorney general too, so maybe they changed their mind.
It's frustrating.
I'll make a motion to, what was it, just table the article and not present it at town meeting. I'll put it on the warrant.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against?
That should do for meeting A, and now we can go back to Applewood meeting B.
Yep, we have a motion just to close that hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the hearing on the town meeting articles, please.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, back to Applewood Construction and 147 Long Hill Road. So,
Thanks.
can you identify yourself?
My name's Greg Roy with Ducharme and Dillis, and I'm here with Brandon Ducharme of Ducharme and Dillis, and the applicant, Walter Erickson with Applewood Construction. Are there people here that are interested in this? I should present from an easel, I think. Where should I do that from, in this room?
Back there.
Over there?
Yeah.
Nah, no problem.
Use the chair. Well, Red, we're here for two reasons, two primary reasons. Two special permits, one to create backland lots, and I'm going to start with that because it gives me an overview of the property. The second is to approve a common driveway, which is the proposed method for access. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the property, brief overview of the project. I'm going to discuss a few of the comments that we've received to date from your peer review consultant and your staff. And then I'm going to ask for your questions and try to be quiet and be brief so that you guys can ask your questions. It's a 51-acre parcel located at 147 Long Hill Road. There's approximately 520 feet of frontage along Long Hill Road. The existing house is just after Annie Moore Road, which is right about here. Exits this way, just to the south of Annie Moore Road. The existing house, which is Dwayne Henry's house, is right here at 147. The existing driveway for the house comes down right along the property line and accesses the house right here. There's a fairly significant wetland system on the property. I don't have it highlighted on this plan. I'll show it to you. I'll show you a colored plan afterwards. But basically, this portion of the property is wet. There's a wetland figure here that comes right through the property in this area, and it's predominantly wooded, with the exception of the surrounding the existing house, which is a typical single-family residential house with lawn and driveway. There's a barn on the property, a shed, septic system as well. We're proposing 4 additional lots. 4 additional lots for a total of 5 lots. 4 of the lots would be backland lots, and I'll point those out to you. This is a little bit tricky to follow until I explain it. The existing lot, the existing house would be broken out and designated as Lot 1, which would actually be, even though it looks like the most conventional shaped on the property, it would actually be classified as a backland lot because it has reduced frontage. It has greater than the 4.5 acres that you're required by your bylaw. Lot 2 has the 50 feet of frontage and comes back and is in this area, which would also be a backland lot. Lot 3, which is right here, actually conforms to your conventional zoning because we have the required frontage and we have the lot width at 100 feet back from the street. So it's a conventional lot, but it's over 4.5 acres in size, and I'll get back to that in a second. And then we have two additional backland lots, rounding out lots 4 and 5, and those go back in the backland of the property. So you can only have 2 backland lots, and then you have to have a conventional lot. So it's back per your zoning regulations. So we have backland lot, conventional lot, backland lot, backland lot. There's a remaining parcel that will just remain in ownership by Mr. Henry, the owner, which is not a buildable lot because it would lack the frontage. Anything less than 4.5 acres in your bylaw requires us to meet lot regularity, irregularity, I can never remember which way you phrase it. We're over 4.5 acres on all of the lots, including the conventional lot, so we do not need to meet the lot regularity factor. I think that's about all I want to say with this plan. I'm going to flip it over and show you how we're proposing to access, which is probably the bulk of the conversation we'll have this evening. As I mentioned, your bylaws and regulations allow us to create allow the creation of a common driveway, which is anything over between 3 and 5 lots by special permit from your board. So that's why we're here this evening. And I wanted to just go over briefly what we're proposing to do here in sort of a 10,000-foot view, and then go over comments and then take some questions. We're proposing to access the total of 5 lots, the existing house and the 4 lots in the back, and I'll show you another plan in a minute, in the same location as the existing driveway. So, and I'm going to go over waivers in a minute, but one of the waivers we're requesting is you require the center line of the driveway to be 25 feet from the property line, exterior property line. We're asking for a waiver from that because we'd like to use, to minimize the impact here of the opening, we'd like to use the existing driveway that's been historically used and just sort of improve the entrance per your regulations.
What is that distance? Yeah, can you show us where 25 feet would be on there?
I don't know the scale, but I think we're,
The point where it gets closer, I think, is the dimension, Greg.
yeah, well, this is, I mean, I think we're like, it would be right in here somewhere.
There's 1 inch equals 30 feet, so
Yeah.
5/6 of an inch, imagine that, just push down the better part of an inch.
Right about there, would be the center line, somewhere right in there, roughly. So we're asking for some relief there for this first section of driveway. Down after the first couple hundred feet, we'd meet that for the rest of the way. We're really only asking for that first stretch just to utilize the existing driveway. Your regulations require turnouts every 300 feet, so we've shown those on the. I'm going to flip the sheet here.
1 second, what is the slope from the road?
This is 12% coming down, which is in accordance with which is your maximum allowed. Let me back up. You require a level area of 4% maximum, which we have here for a period of, I think it's 40 feet.
40.
4 for 40, right? Yeah. So we have that, and then we transition to actually a fairly short 12% stretch, and then it's much more gradual. I can show you that on the. We'll do that now. This is the profile view. So you can this is real dramatic scale, but we have the 4% level area off the road. We transition to a quick 12% there, and then we transition into an 8%. We cross the low area with a vertical curve, and then we come back at much more mild 7. And your minimum slope required is 0.75%, which we have there at the end. And then, actually, I'm not done. It continues down there. We go to a high point and then down to about 5% at the end. Sort of continuing on, most of the houses are out in the back of the site, so if I can show for the audience, for the sake of the audience here, the proposed houses, so you can kind of see the outline of the 51 acres here. This is the Girl Scout camp right here. The proposed houses would be back in this area here. As I said, this is wetland in this area here, so we have house septics and wells located up in that area there. Another one of your requirements is a emergency vehicle turnaround, which we're showing here at the end, in accordance with your bylaw. And you require drainage designs, so we've submitted detailed drainage calculations, but primarily there's 3 stormwater management areas proposed. One of them's back here near the terminus of the driveway. The other 2 areas are on either side of the wetland system on the first plan, and we're proposing to convey the water from the road through the use of swales on that. We're asking for, in addition to the waiver that I already mentioned with the offset, we're also asking for, you have a regulation that for a crowned section, that this should be crowned, and I'm asking for a super elevation that we sheet the runoff across the 12 feet so that we can utilize a swale on one side instead of having a crowned driveway.
Can you show us which side that was?
Sure, yeah. We're proposing a swale on this southerly side here, and that would be conveyed point right in here. So this swale, which would catch runoff from approximately this part of the site down to this stormwater management area. The front actually, the front 400 or 500 feet is actually crowned, and we're proposing bituminous curving similar to a road on that section. When we get past the wetland crossing here, we're proposing that open swale again, and that comes down to the stormwater management area there.
So the asphalt curbing is to keep water from flowing into the wetlands, or?
Exactly, exactly. So I needed to keep the runoff on the pavement and convey it to the stormwater management area before it discharges to the wetlands, so we can treat it in accordance with the stormwater management requirements. And we're just tighter. With the grading here, to force swales in there, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So we thought that would be a better option. The other waiver we're asking, so I just mentioned, the other waiver we're asking for, so is that crown, but it's only from 500 feet in to the end. We're actually proposing a crown section through that first stretch. We've received three comments from 3 individuals. The first one, and I'll go on these in no particular order. The first one is from the Conservation Commission. This requires an order of conditions from the Conservation Commission. So I just want to acknowledge that we received it. And all of those things are going to be brought up during the notice of intent process with the Conservation Commission. We cannot build this project without an order of conditions from the Conservation Commission. So we're proposing a wetland fill in this area and a wetlands replication area to mitigate for it in this location here. So all of those things are going to be reviewed by the Conservation Commission.
So, yeah, so I have a question about that. Why wouldn't you take this to them first?
Because
it's such a big part of the project.
Because we
crossing the wetlands.
needed a special permit from you folks.
First.
So, yeah, we felt like we wanted to at least get into, I think these are going to overlap. We're very close to submitting to the Conservation Commission. But we really wanted your feedback. We think that, given that we needed special permits for it, we wanted to be before you. And quite frankly, that's just how the project rolled as well. That's just the way that the timeline worked out. But we are hoping that will at least overlap a little bit, and we think that it will. So we've received that letter, and we will certainly be addressing those during the Conservation Commission. We've received a few comments from your staff, from Erica, mainly regarding drainage. I just got them this afternoon, so I just want to acknowledge receipt of them, and we will certainly address them in a subsequent iteration. Really what I want to do tonight was, I want to come here, I want to present the plan, I want to go over a few of the comments, particularly from Fred's review letter. Fred and I sat down earlier today. What was it, yesterday? No, it's today. And I wanted to go over a few comments from that, but what I really wanted to do tonight was give you an overview, present it to the public here, and really hear what you have to say, hear what, and any other comments, so that we can go back and we can address comments in sort of a wholesale fashion. We can address comments from your peer review consultant staff and your board. So if I could, I'd like to just highlight a few of Fred's comments and just see what the commission of the and just.
Why don't we let Fred present,
fine.
and then you could respond.
I guess I just want to say that Fred and I met. A lot of these things are clean up in nature, which will just be revising the plans to address his comments. There's some drainage calculation issues that that Fred and I are going to have to work out, which is pretty standard, and we acknowledge it. So I'm happy to let Fred. However,
Yeah, that'd be great. Fred's here, and it'd be great to hear from him. Maybe you could, read and also come up to the drawings and show us the important comments related to the
You
plan.
would like to go through all of them, is what you're saying? What Greg is, what he alluded to, how I took it from, is there's some comments that are gonna be board
yeah,
decisions.
there's a
and
few
he
things I'd
wanted-
like to talk to make.
He
make
wanted
sure
to
we
go
talk.
over those.
Yeah.
The other ones that are more technical, that have to be changed or adjusted, he's going to do that,
Yep.
right? But there might be some things that,
Okay, so,
Why don't you take the wheel?
okay.
so under sheet 2, Fred, you had some observations about number 2,
Number
the
2,
posted
that'd be-
speed
right.
limit, the tree.
Okay, I can go right through those. Those are the ones that Greg was talking about, coincidentally, right?
Not really.
No, some of the ones that regulation, but.
That's a technical thing that we're just going to revise the plan to show that we comply with what Fred's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I want to talk about the tree.
So, Fred, you had concerns about safety, the closeness.
Well, what they have in your regulation, you have a sight distance equal to, for every 10 miles an hour of posted speed limit, which is 25 miles an hour on the street here, you need 60 feet for every 10 miles an hour. So you need 150 feet sight distance. And visually, you in a straight line, you have that. That's what they show on the plan. I look at it too, and I also drive it myself. There's two ways to look at it. A lot of times, most of the time, sight distance is based on design speed, not on posted speed. But your regulations do say for every 60 feet for every 10 miles an hour. But people are traveling there between 32 and 39 miles an hour there, and I do it by sitting on the side of the road. If someone goes by, I get behind them and follow them. One person finally did slow down to about 20. I thought I was one of those boys. Thought it was Vinny. But there's no other way to tell. Anyways, it is faster than 25 a lot of times. I know where people, of course, live there. So, but the bigger concern becomes, that's a regulation. They meet the regulation, but the bigger concern comes right here, almost opposite the side of Annie Moore Road, is about a 48-inch tree right there. when you sit back, once again, your regulation says, when you're in your car and you're back 5 feet back into the lot from the pavement, can you see both directions, the 150 feet or whatever the requirement is? And you can, but just as you pull up, you hit the tree gets right in your line of sight and you miss. You have one window of the 150 feet, and from then on, you don't have much sight distance at all. So that was a question that, not a question, there's an issue with that. And do you want to
Yeah.
talk about it right now?
Well, I just wanted to acknowledge that we see that. I mean, you want to talk about the tree a little? I mean, I don't.
My only comment is, if it, it meets the requirements, but, if it was an issue,
Being 150 feet?
yeah, well,
Well,
the issue being, when you come 5 feet off from the edge of pavement, up 3.5 feet, and you look to do your sight distance, you're actually looking behind the tree.
Correct.
So even if you say you increase that speed, you're gonna actually be looking even further down, further behind the tree.
right.
The tree's really only an issue, like you said, if you were going to pull out. We can certainly default to mark case to look at the tree, but to me, the tree looks dead anyway. I mean, it might just, the easiest thing might be just to remove the tree.
The thing that, even though your regulations say a distance of the 150 feet, what it really comes down to is that distance 150 feet and then a line along the roadway making a triangle that you can see in that whole triangle. And no matter, within that 0 to 5 feet, you still have to be able to see the 150 feet. In other words, you don't start it back here 20 feet into the lot, it starts at 5 feet of the road.
So is the tree on the public right of way? It's on the property?
It's literally probably like 2 feet off the pavement. It's one of those in the right of way.
Yes, it's
But,
right.
The road moves around the tree.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
But like I said, I mean,
It's not
certainly,
dead, by the way.
yeah, it's just been hit by plows or whatever, just when you look at it, yeah, so.
It has reflectors on it to warn people.
It's a Bolton special, yeah.
Fred, was there anything else that you wanted?
As far as the sight distance, no.
So these sightlines, it's just for common driveways, not shared, right? That's
Correct.
representing just for common.
Correct.
Yes. Yes, under your common driveway regulations, yeah.
Any other questions for Fred?
You want to talk about the walls?
Yeah, that's another one I've circled.
Number 5 is,
yeah.
there are proposed walls designed right here, this length, and
Right there.
this close, no, I'm sorry, right here. Right
So
here,
what's-
about 300 feet and about a couple hundred feet
So
there.
what's going on? Those are retaining walls, you're raising the grade?
Is there, yes, the grade is lower on towards the boundary.
So how is the current driveway supported now?
The current driveway is
go that
steeper than
far.
12%.
Yeah,
Right.
It doesn't
to
have
meet
that
your,
level.
Do you want to show that?
that's where something,
I can show.
initially, the question was, can we get a waiver to eliminate that, but it's not something that can be waived.
There are two things that govern this development. One is a section in your bylaw, and the other is regulations. So you can waive regulations, but you can't waive bylaw. So your level area is actually a bylaw issue. So this 4-foot level area, the existing driveway right now is this dash line. That's the grade of the driveway. So, and that's the existing grade of the land. To conform to your regulations, we have to do a 4% level area for 40 feet, which puts you out at about a 5-foot fill, and then we can dive at 12%. So that's why we need the retaining wall, because we're filling in that area.
And there's nothing really wrong with retaining wall. What is done is to be designed by others, and I like to see it done at some point with the design plan, so it isn't an issue halfway during construction.
I agree with that.
I guess, why do you agree with that? Because I can totally see that on a public road. The town wants to know what's being designed. This is the driveway. I'm just a little unclear. I'd just like to know your
Yeah,
question.
no, it's a driveway that gets used by, future homeowners as well as fire trucks and, public safety vehicles. So, so it should be a certain standard, and it doesn't seem that hard, a design for a retaining wall to be kind of part of this parcel, but.
Yeah, So if this was a shared design, a shared, if we were proposing two houses back there with the same configuration, there'd be no requirement for us to come and do a plan review. And it's pretty much the same. It needs to be designed, I'm not questioning that, and I'm not trying to get out of it, I'm just trying to, contractors come in and we design things like that, block retaining walls, and we'll lay it out using Versalock, okay? And we spend $1,000 to get a structural stamp on a Versalock wall, and then the contractor comes in and decides he doesn't want to use a Versalock wall, he wants to use a gravity block, a different manufacturer, and that requires a whole nother design anyway.
But don't we have the contractor here?
We're just trying to.
That's Applewood.
I guess I would just,
So I just wondering why you need that flexibility, because the developer is known. It's Mr. Erickson's company. It's not some unknown developer
yeah,
that's gonna come.
if, I guess what I'm saying is if it's a real sticking point, you really feel like we need it during the design process, that's fine. I guess my suggestion would be to put it as a condition of approval. Even with a road design we've done in the past, it's been a condition of approval.
The only thing to add to that too is, I mean, certainly Applewood's gonna be doing it, but really, from our experience, when you get into things like that, is, once this design set gets approved, he's gonna, even though he's gonna be building it, he's gonna put it out to bid. And that's gonna be one of those numbers, it's gonna cost X, well, how do we get that price down? One of them's gonna be like, we could modify the wall. Not an issue, but I'm just giving you an example of how these things, even with the same developer, those are the kind of details that kind of get worked out as the project gets bid and gets ready to construct.
Yeah, no, but, it should be specified, and then, you shouldn't be, value engineering it.
I'm saying we want to be able to value engineer, that's what I'm talking about.
Right, right, well then do that ahead of time, like you two put your heads
But
together.
I could do that. My understanding of value might be different than his final site contractor.
There's one other thing too, is that in the building code, if we have retaining wall over a certain height, we're required to submit the plans and the calculations to the building department for a building permit, any wall over 6 feet high. So a lot of these walls, we're gonna have to pull a building permit and submit the design calcs and the specs to the building inspector anyway.
Okay, so let's,
One way.
If it's a real sticking point, I guess, we don't necessarily, but I can totally see it on a road, and even on roads, it's been a condition of approval from your board, Houghton Farm, for example, because we didn't know what the wall was gonna be. And, the town wanted to review it, totally understandable, it's gonna be a public road. They're gonna own the infrastructure. This is not gonna be owned by the town. That's just my only point.
My suggestion, I don't have, so to speak, an issue with it now, but prior to the construction starting, it probably should be designed. At that point, he's already, the site contractor doesn't have a site contractor probably in line or signed up a contract. And at that point, that if you looked at 2 or 3 site contracts that came out with 3 different wall designs, prices for 3 different ones, you've already picked one and that's the one you're gonna go with. So prior to construction that it gets submitted? I understand what you're saying.
Some of these places, for example, some of these precast places, if you buy the wall from them, they'll give you the design. You see what I'm saying? As part of the price, but you have to pay for the wall. Well, we're not gonna go pay for the wall until we have the approvals. You see what I'm saying? So it's just to go and get a structural stamp now and spend, money, well, we could get it as part of the precast, agreement as part of the cost of the wall later. That's just the kind of flexibility we're looking to have. We're not trying to, we know they need to be designed by a structural professional engineer. We just don't want to have to do it as part of the
yeah,
process.
we'll wait, because
Yeah,
a big
that's
part of this is part about the wetlands, and I'm sure the Conservation Commission is
Yep.
gonna want,
They'll
more
be-
details about your wetland crossing, so.
Yeah, except that, the wall on Houghton Farm, for example, is a classic example. A much bigger wall with a much bigger road embankment, crossing a wetland with wetland fills, and it was a condition of approval. So, I mean, we've done it this way in the past, it's not something, we had to submit it for review, I can understand that, but we just didn't have to do it during the design phase.
So is there anything else, Fred, you wanted to point out before we open up the discussion?
No, on sheet 5, which is the detail sheet, we need some more information. the specific details they have, and then some other details added to it that Greg and I have gone over.
Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable with what Fred wants on
Right.
that.
We went over everything today, and on the drainage, there's some things he's gonna check before I've reviewed all the pre-calculations. I started the post-development calculation review, but there's some questions I have that he's going to look into before I continue with that review. And that might even somewhat change due to conservation's
Mhm.
comments there, but that's another thing altogether.
Any comments or questions before I open it up to the audience? Any comments from the public about the shared driveway?
I'll pick it up here. Mark Sprague, 170 Long Hill. Given the time of year, this is getting our weather the last few weeks, where is snow going to be put as you plow this? Is it just pushing off the sides, or are you have any places where you're intending to put it? And conservation is going to want that too around the crossing, I'm sure, too.
Yeah, we'll probably, primarily, it's gonna be pushed off to the side. Because one good thing about the common driveway, and I think which makes it really environmentally friendly compared to some other towns, is the width of that driveway and the common driveway to be able to access those 4 houses instead of putting in a major subdivision roadway that's 26 feet wide with drainage structures. So this is really gonna be a driveway and a plow. We'll have a homeowners association with somebody be contracted with the plow to come in, and they're probably just gonna wing most everything just to the sides of the roads. On the right-hand side, it's gonna be probably in that drainage well, which will actually help pre-treat some of it as it goes into the stormwater management area. So I think it'll be pretty easy to take care of.
I mean, that is something to keep in mind, though. I mean, unless you're going to restrict which way they can push it, you're now pushing up closer to the property line. Now you're pushing snow that direction, which isn't necessarily going to be contained to the property line. I guess kind of along that same route with the 5 houses back there, I'm assuming that given the town, there will be a bunch of those that will have kids in it for school. And probably with parents dropping them for the bus or picking them up. And is there someplace that the parents can park and not obstructed through the driveway as well?
There isn't now, I mean, I guess it's a little.
Issue, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an issue, I don't know, I mean, just Bolton uniquely has a lot of common driveways. As you look around, and as we engineer in a lot of other towns that don't. And just from, the handful of them that I drive by every single morning, usually all the cars just kind of line up at the end, like you said, and that's, I haven't heard any safety concerns or any issues with that, but I see.
Although the wall is starts almost at the road and goes.
Well,
so there's not a lot. It's not like you've got flat land that they can get in and out on either. So.
Well, your regs address that though, because you require, one of the things you require, and I didn't mention it in my introduction, is a staging area. So you require us to widen the throat and per your regulations. So we have to, for 40 feet, we have to widen this. It tapers from 12 feet up to 20 in that trapezoid. So at the throat here, there's enough room to get around. If you had someone parked right here on this, and you have to have a 50 foot, where you intersect the pavement, it has to be 50 feet. So it's 50 feet, that's a wide apron. So you got a pretty good area in the front there.
Isn't there a turnout somewhere there required too?
Your turnouts are only required at 300 feet, so the first turnout's back here.
Oh, okay.
And that's,
on the slope.
That's 18 feet wide per your regulations, right? Yeah.
So potentially in that 50 by whatever area, you could have 4
There's room.
cars if all of them were in school and all that.
In the back, did you have any comments? No? Yes, so can you give me your best argument for why you need the waiver for the driveway entrance location?
I mean, I think the big thing is just trying to separate the common driveway from the existing house. So if we were coming in here to design this and that existing house wasn't there, there's really no reason at all to ask for the waiver.
That has stays.
But that-
Yeah, so that house is staying, really, it's 4 new house lots in the back.
Yep.
You know, the 5th house is basically the existing house.
But that owner is selling these lots, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Is there septic or wellhead up on the front there, or?
Yeah, well, the well is, I don't know.
I don't show it on the plan, but where's the wall brand, right in here?
It's kind of over by the barn, so,
Oh,
yeah.
so,
it's
somewhere in the front. The existing septic is back here.
I'd just say I'd like to see a layout, meeting the regulation rather, than just starting off with, the waiver.
I mean, yeah, one of the issues is trying to get some spacing, say there was a house on that immediate lot, and all of a sudden, the issue is exactly what you said, is it's their house and they're the ones adding this, so they should be okay if it's closer to their house. And if somebody was next door and didn't have that control, it kind of prevents a new driveway from being created, potentially 35 feet off their house. The issue here, or the thing here in looking at that we considered is, it's owned by the Girl Scouts, there's no house directly or anywhere within visibility there, so running the driveway down the existing property line really shouldn't be a big deal from that perspective where you're looking to impact the abutter.
Yeah, I'll have to drive over there and look. I mean, it would certainly create a little bit more of a separation, from any, the intersection with any more.
That's the house right there, so you can see. This thing goes.
It's really just trying to lay it out in a way that makes the most sense, for the existing house and the new house.
Fred, what was your view on that?
I left it up to the board. I don't see it as an issue because it's not an abutter, as they say. From my own point of view, it's all open land. I think it's 14 feet at your closest point right now to center line.
Correct.
Yeah.
Where that dimension is, about 150 feet in.
Yeah. Oh, there you go, yeah.
14 feet.
Yep.
And so it's 9 feet closer at its closest point.
9 feet
it's-
relief, yeah, 9 feet relief.
It's, if there was a house there, of course, it's an issue that you want to try to keep that separation, but not to say there might not be something in the future, but that's the way it's done.
But at least they're coming into it knowing that.
Right,
yeah.
exactly, it's
Yeah.
already an existing situation. But, and it may follow the path. They have a turnaround, if you want to mention the turnaround for the existing home.
Oh, sure, yeah. The existing driveway, you can't really see it, but it's gravel and it comes down and then there's a turnaround right there. We're gonna maintain that turnaround and just,
Bypass.
off the new driveway. We just have to do some regrading in that area. Is that what you?
So
Right.
you'll put that on the next,
It's on the plan, it doesn't,
Yeah,
it
very light.
doesn't show up as,
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, it's just
It's
basically,
existing.
we're just basically, these contours here of what we're doing to regrade it.
Okay.
and so the fall, it's almost the same as, from a conservation standpoint, where they're crossing the wetlands, there's a existing cart path.
Right.
So they're gonna continue using that to minimize disturbance. It's almost the same thing, not an environmental issue, but using the existing route, a path of the path of the existing driveway and follow that.
Did you show a turnaround at the new end of the driveway?
Yes.
All the way down the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's,
So it has the,
you require an emergency, I think it's 30 by 40 pad back there.
so has the fire chief looked at it yet, Erica?
I sent him the plans and the calculations. I haven't heard from him yet, though.
Okay.
30 feet by 40 in there, so you can get a truck.
He's meeting the bylaw, so I don't think the fire chief is gonna have any concerns.
So again, just working back these 18-foot wide by 25-foot turnouts. And then at the end, we have the wider area.
Great. So I'd just say,
That's gonna block it off. Sorry.
did you have a comment?
I do actually.
Can you identify yourself?
Oh, sorry, Jan Belmonte, 193 Long Hill. Where you bridge the wetlands,
Mhm.
there's wetlands on the other side of that, on the Girl Scout land. It actually becomes more stream-like as it goes into West Pond.
I'll let Brandon talk about it.
Yeah,
The
so-
wetland continues through, yeah.
It's gonna be a culvert or something underneath there?
Yep, exactly.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah, right. Yeah, I have to maintain hydrology, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the conservation administrator did write a letter and has lots of issues. If you want a copy of that, you can, to review. I just, so this is great as like, just to show us what you're doing and get some feedback. I think, in terms of, I don't want to grant a permit until you've worked through the things with the Conservation Commission. I think that's jumping ahead of them, to say that we're all ready and they still have a lot, they haven't even looked at it
Well-
as a group, so.
Well, you're talking about the driveway permit, not the
Yeah.
backland lot.
Like I said before, even if you, not that you're gonna do this, but if you approve this tonight, it doesn't make a until we get our order conditions. We still can't build it. The two permits are mutually exclusive.
Right, the big thing is, we're looking for waivers, so we need to get feedback, especially, particularly on this waiver, because in trying to maintain, adequate offset from the house, for instance, another option would be to bring the driveway in much lower and past the wetlands in a different area, so, we kind of need to get that feedback. We planned all along to basically file these things in parallel. We're hoping to get
Right.
filed with the commission next week, so, we'll have
Right.
public hearings open with both of you.
Right.
Both.
Okay, that sounds good.
Where else could you come in and access it?
Yeah.
I mean, can you
You
anywhere?
could, I mean, to be honest with you, Dave, there was enough testing out back where you could come in with a subdivision road, but when you kind of look at the balance of it all,
From where? Where Eileen's sign was?
well, kind of between the house and the barn, essentially.
Okay,
Would be the other option. I mean, there's another existing crossing.
Right here.
Yeah, Greg can show you there, where the cart road comes across.
And then there's a cart path that comes in like that.
So really, what we did is we're looking at it from several, it's not like, we're not looking at this from a conservation perspective. When you look at that wetland, the size and scope of the wetland, there's kind of a high point as you get close to that road, that existing, really,
Yep.
the wetlands get about as small, I mean, that's the optimal place to
The wetland-
cross with the least amount of
The
input.
wetland does this.
Okay, so the waiver you're asking for the crown and the road, I mean, that seems to be something, we could talk about, but also, the conservation can say, no, we don't want you to sheet the water to one side, we want the other, so, that's kind of up in the air. And maybe they're gonna want you to explore, that other entrance that you just discussed, so, so they're moving pieces, I think.
We understand that, but that's kind of our risk.
Yeah.
If you close the hearing and then we have to revise it, we might have to come back to you and open the hearing.
Yeah, the other thing is, in the Wetlands Protection Act, they really want you to have all your other permits in place before you file with the Conservation Commission. That's the last board that we normally go to. Because if you can't get your planning board approvals, can't get your approvals from the Board of Appeals, can't get your approvals from the Board of Health, there's no sense going to Conservation.
Yeah, so, I'd like to continue this and, let's get some feedback from,
Then, how was the feeling regarding the backland lot permit portion? Did anyone have any objections to those? See anything mathematically or otherwise incorrect?
I don't, but I just want to say, I do have some sympathy for what Ducharme and Dillis is saying with respect to, let's try and figure out where the entrance is first. Let's try and figure out whether we have an appetite for the 25-foot waiver. Because if they're going to go to Carroll and have a conversation about in further towards Hudson, it's a totally different crossing. I have walked back there, and the high point is where they're proposing. It would kind of be a mess to come in elsewhere, like I say, further towards Hudson. And I have some sympathy towards you guys wanting to hear our comfort with respect to, do you mind us coming in further up there, less impact, more of a natural ingress egress with respect to the existing cart road? My 2 cents. I think it makes sense to come in through that way.
It does.
I'd be supportive of that waiver, of that 25-foot waiver. I think it makes sense.
I'll echo David's statements with the 25-foot waiver, and you know, I understand the super elevation and how that would work. Of course, Carol will have a lot of input on that, but I don't see any objection on my part for that waiver.
It's sending you down one specific path, I think. If we can voice to you some sort of comfort towards the 25-foot waiver, I think it has your eyes towards, all right, when we're speaking with Carol, this is the design we're advocating for, and see what she says about that. But I can't even imagine that you can come in any other way. That is the natural way. I mean, it's almost entirely dry if you hug that stone wall.
It's
not quite, but it's quite.
It's very, very borderline.
It's tight,
Exactly, yep. I appreciate the feedback, yeah.
With respect to the crown issue and the super elevation, so on a 24-foot road cross-section, you crown it. So you crown.
I have no problem with a cross slope on the
I don't
road, it's
think-
just which side does,
Yeah.
which
Oh, yeah.
side is the best side for
Yeah.
the water to flow to? And so, I just don't, want to make it, I'm not totally convinced that, the Conservation Commission might like another wetland crossing than this, so
They might, and I hear that, so it might make sense to
So
talk to
I
them
don't-
and get
why-
their input.
why should
But
we
I'll guarantee
say-
you, she'll want it up there. That's the high spot.
Yeah, so, let's just get their feedback
Sure.
and then we can, continue this and circle back. If they're really happy with that, then I think we're gonna be very happy with it. I would like to go out and look, I didn't have time and it's, with all of this snow, it's hard to get
I
a
got some
sense.
snowshoes, we can do it.
It's no real-
Not walk back there, but just
Yeah, no,
drive by.
Well, we certainly, we weren't gonna ask you to close the hearing tonight. We have some work ahead of us to address the comments that we received from the folks we mentioned, and also if the chief, either chief issues any comments, we'd like to get those, and any feedback that we heard tonight.
And
You know, we-
Greg, if you don't mind, can you just provide a written request for the waivers?
Oh, sure, in letter form? Yeah,
Yes,
yep.
and then that way I can put it in the file and
Yeah,
we'll have it.
sure, yeah. So we certainly anticipate that, and we hope to get in to the, like Brandon said, we're anticipating filing probably next week with them and getting on their agenda, so I think that we should be in pretty good shape.
So, can you just walk me through the lot that nothing's happening on, the parcel? Just in terms of the wetlands there, like what's,
Yeah.
why isn't that parcel part of?
What possible future could they have?
Yeah, just, why isn't that being considered? Are there wetlands in there?
There are, yeah, so the wetland, the wetland line is like this is wet. We don't show, I think there's some upland back here, is there not?
I think there's a small portion of upland in the back.
Yeah.
Most
of that is wet. It's 18.4 acres roughly. There's no plans for it right now. It's just not needed for the development, and the owner would like to retain it.
Okay.
I mean, basically, I think it comes down to the agreement between Applewood and the landowner.
Right.
The agreement they had was to, sell four lots.
Mhm.
And basically, what we've grabbed enough land to create those.
Yeah, part of the original plan, the lease had a preliminary plan, some sketch plans showing 10 to 12 lots in a subdivision, and we were not really interested in doing that. We'd rather have the larger lots with the common driveway. Mr. Henry wanted to retain that leftover parcel of land instead, so we agreed to that.
So the lot that has the frontage, that isn't a backland lot, you said that was, what's the frontage? You said it was 100?
200 feet.
Oh, it's 200.
Mhm. It's 200 feet, and then it's 150 feet at 100-foot back,
Okay.
which is your requirement on your bylaw, which is this dashed line right here. So it's 168 feet at that spot. It just has to be greater than 150 feet lot width.
And it's 4 new, the existing house and the retained lot?
It's going to be a total of 5 buildable lots. There'll be the existing house and 4 new
Got it.
lots.
Okay.
But what I wanted to say, even though this looks like the most conventional lot, it's still a backland lot.
Yep.
So that the existing house would be put on a backland lot. And then, so backland lot, conventional lot, backland lot. And then only 26 feet of frontage for this parcel. So it's not a lot.
Okay.
By any of your regulations.
Okay.
So we have a motion to continue this hearing.
I'll make a motion to continue the hearing to, what, our next scheduled meeting?
February 25th at 7:30
February
p.m.
27th, 7:32.
So, we didn't really talk about that, but it's
Too
It's
soon?
gonna take a while to make.
well, if I revise this thing in a week and we get it back to the various, I want to make sure that we have a productive meeting the next time. What's the feel for?
If we wait until March, maybe we can have an initial conversation with the
That's kind of what I'm thinking. A month might be more
Great.
realistic. Is that okay with the board?
Sure.
I don't want to come back here and say, yeah, we didn't quite get a chance
No,
to get,
thanks.
you know what I'm
Makes
saying? I don't want to
sense.
waste your time or my time, but,
We
wanna
want to do it
obviously
as
keep-
fast as you guys need us to
we
do.
want to keep it moving. We appreciate you being willing to do it in 10 minutes. I just think that probably a month would be better.
Yeah, we'll get the conservation before that.
Right.
Make a motion to continue the hearing to a future to-be-determined date in approximately a month.
Second.
Can, actually, before we do that, can we actually set it to a date? Otherwise, I need to notify butters and surrounding towns. It's easier if we just set it to a date. If they're not ready, we can continue it at that point. I'd rather give it a date though in a time.
Okay.
What is it?
What's the date
let's-
of that?
It's March 11th.
Make a motion to continue the hearing to March 11th, 7:30 in this room.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
So we are continuing on with Tushar Mandelis. We have an A and R for 445 Sugar Road. Modify a lot line.
I believe that's on my.
I didn't bring it.
Yeah, actually, we did water with them.
No. 45 is on the other side of it, not 495.
It's on the east side of Grundy.
I wasn't even close enough to Houghton Farm. Yeah, I was 800 feet away from your point, I think.
This is a little tricky to see. You look like you'll be seeing double through the Mylar, but,
Oh,
so that's what,
that's the new house over, yeah,
Down that road in the
that's the new house they've been building back there.
In the middle of the
right
road.
here. Right, there's a new house going in there.
There's no way I'm 500 feet from that, and far.
So 495 is on this side?
That's 495. Oh, that's good.
495 is over here.
Great.
Coventry Wood goes like this. So this is the upper side of Coventry. This is a lot that we've recently done a septic, perks and septic design for. We got the septic permit and it's under agreement to be sold. And what happened in the past was this parcel was this abutter in deed only, with no plan. So, there's, I guess, been an issue that, to be quite honest with you, Stan Bills, who prepared this plan, couldn't be here tonight, but either the buyer or the buyer's mortgage company or something needs a plan on record to show what was conveyed. So this parcel, it has been conveyed already. It's already been conveyed. We're just putting a plan on record that shows the location of it. So that's.
It's the house, they own that land.
I think it was conveyed to these people.
I do have a question. Is this right? The street number is 445, but this is the even street number side. Is this another one of those where
It could be because,
we did something weird and remember this came up a year or two ago
No,
with
no,
the...
that's right, because the Merrills live right here.
Okay, so
on the
on
other
the
side
other
of the
side,
street. So the
okay,
record
so this will
owner-
be like
Yeah.
something divided by 2.
The Merrills
Okay.
who own this, who are selling, who are the sellers,
Oh,
They
they're also the
live
ones
here.
with the flowers?
they're right on the
Chain link
corner.
fence.
They're right
So
on
the
the
land is on
corner.
both sides of the road, is what you're saying?
They own,
Which
they own, their house, where they live is on the opposite side, they own this
On a different
piece on the
house,
opposite
right.
side. So they're the record owners at 445 Sugar Road.
Okay.
But the address, there's no address,
Okay.
because it's not.
Just making sure we don't perpetuate
So-
something.
So they bought that?
Yeah, these people bought it from the Merrills. And I'm not sure, that was before we were involved, I'm not sure how it was
So
gonna
we're
be.
adding this or we're cutting it off
You're cutting
to
it
this
off.
lot?
You cut it, this lot is gonna now exclude parcel A.
Okay.
So
How
this
many
lot
acres
still
is
has
left?
300
So
feet
the-
frontage,
Yeah.
almost 120,000 square feet.
Right, so it
Shape
complies.
factor is A-okay,
Right.
which wouldn't matter for the frontage lot anyways, right?
No, you still have shade, right?
Okay.
Yeah, anything less than 4.5 acres. So, yeah, so basically, you're 80,000 square foot zoning, so we've got 119,000 square feet. We've got your 200 foot of frontage, we have 300 feet of frontage. You've got your required lot width at 100 feet back from the road.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna make you say this again,
Initiate
but this will
it.
be the last time.
That's all right.
These people, the Merrills,
Yes,
own this land.
yes,
These people are living here. They
yeah,
bought this triangle.
yes. Without
This lot is for sale.
this lot's for sale, without this.
What's left
Without
over in the
this.
middle?
And we're trying, and the mortgage lender is saying they need a plan for this, which is to
Right.
be sold.
Is that one there, that's a backland lot?
That's the way I understand
Speak your
it.
language.
I'm now hearing, that you're getting that from me, who got it from the surveyor, who got it from the buyer, who got it from his attorney, you know what I'm saying, but I think that's.
That one's a backland
Because
lot?
I talked to Rick
You
Merrill,
did,
he
okay.
said the exact same thing.
So they bought it from the Merrills?
Yeah, so they own it. Legally speaking, they own it. We're just, there was
In
never a
order for
plan for this.
this, a nice clean lot to be conveyed, you
Yeah.
need a nice clean plan that shows.
I mean, it's in the
tax.
town's best interest because this doesn't show up on assessing, right?
No, it does not.
Right, so
We
that's
need
probably
the
the reason for that is because you need the A&R plan
Yeah.
for it, right?
Is the house in the middle?
New house, the new house is the next one down?
This is
The next one down, the
Okay.
new one is there.
There's a nice house right there.
There's a house
There's a
there.
long driveway with a house back there, and then there's a few houses there, and then 495.
I believe this used to be Copeland.
Yep, it was.
They got kind of fancy looking one story.
What's that?
Is that the one on the top of the hill?
That's a nice looking kind of.
That's fairly newish too, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah.
15 years, 20 years
Right.
maybe. Nice house.
And then this one goes up over the hill and back, and that's a nice
Way
house
back
too.
there. That was Copeland, yeah.
House, yeah.
Great.
That's it.
It's over here.
Town knows every house in Bolton.
Yeah, I used to hang out there. Did you know the Copeland?
Deb was in my class.
Oh, Deb was,
yeah.
oh, okay, Deb, yeah.
When I told him where I lived, he's like, oh, I was in your house.
Yeah.
He's been in every house in Bolton.
Larry Delaney did that one to me. Apparently, when they were building his house, the developer didn't have it quite ready, so he lived in my house for like 2 months, like before the people I bought it from got in there. It was,
Good.
oh, that's weird.
Well, it's not that big of a town as it turns out, so
Yeah.
it happens a little bit, you know.
Apparently.
Yeah. So that's it, I guess, black ink, right?
Right.
Any comments?
No.
questions?
So, do we have to vote on it?
Yeah, why not? Let's just make
Yeah.
a motion to be safe.
I'll make a motion to approve the approval not required
I'm saying that.
Lot 2A on Sugar Road dated January 29, 2015 by Ducharme and Dillis.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Start. It's just the one Mylar.
There should be 2 or 3 hard copy, 3 hard copies, yeah.
If you
So
want, I
all
can
get
make a
signed.
copy. If you just
Oh,
want
we
to
can
sign
just-
one, I can bring down copies.
It's up to you.
No, we can do it. I think.
Okay. Just trying to save you time, right?
So
We
it's-
have a nice, we just recently got a nice scanner, so we
Oh,
can
nice.
scan these plans in.
Now, when was
Yeah.
that when we had to sign off the 100 sheets of Century Mill and, what, 6 times a piece?
Did you really? 6 copies?
We had a signing party, it took us like an hour, we split from this room to this room and just had several tables going. Yeah,
That's a
it
big
was
set of plans.
insane.
Yeah, it's a lot of plans.
Yes.
I'm sure the registrar wouldn't like it, but I have a vision someday of having electronic plans, and we can electronically sign them, and then they can just print them off as many times as they want, and
Yeah, they're slow for that. You know, it seems like there's gotta be a way, you know. Well, you know, in some towns, sorry, I don't wanna speak out of turn, but in some towns, they authorize the planner to sign.
I haven't seen that before.
Stowe does that.
Oh,
Karen
really?
can sign them. If it meets the regulations, then, you know, they'll authorize it. But you have to tell the registry of deeds, because if you bring the plan down there and it doesn't have
I've had
the,
that problem before.
yeah. Actually, you know, they do that in a lot of the larger towns too, like you go down to Worcester will do that, the planning department will just endorse the plan.
God, that must be a big job, Worcester.
Well, they have they have a lot of staff, you know.
Yeah, last year we had something that needed to get recorded and they initialed it, the board initialed it and didn't actually sign their names and they wouldn't accept it because that's not what they had on file. They had the
They
actual
pull it out, they
signatures.
look at the
Yeah,
block,
they pull it out.
they do.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And then they also won't do it if it's more than
Different every
6.
time. It really
If
is.
it's more than 6 months, they won't take it either.
Huh.
And that happens here and there, like the Mylar will sit in the, either
Yeah.
my office or the owners, they just never record it. And they come to time, especially in a bad economy, when lots were sitting on the market for years
Mhm.
and they didn't record it, and then they finally get a buyer, and they're like, oh, we never recorded the plan, and like, well, too late, we gotta go back and get it re-endorsed, you know, it takes,
And then personnel change and like, I didn't vote on this, we need to
we
reopen.
need to read over there. That happens. It's happened with your board.
That's why it's best just to record it.
Just, yeah,
And so
well,
many
this one.
applicants wait till the last minute to do it, and it's like, why?
Yeah, no, this
Just
one,
get it done.
this one, there's, I mean, they've got a buyer, so, and it's the buyer that needs it done. I think he already drilled a well, didn't he drill a well? I think he drilled a well.
Okay. So the Mylar goes to Craig, and I'll take another copy or the paper.
How many houses are we at in Bolton? Is it at 1,600 yet? Do you know?
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Around 15.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
So no changes on the map, on the zoning?
No, great, looks good. Yeah, we're good to go.
Is that what it is?
Sure.
It seems high. I bet you it's below
Thanks
2.
for coming in. Good to see you.
Likewise.
I was just giving you that, you know, so.
What's a single kid?
I didn't have a lot.
What's a single child, doctor, lawyer,
I said it was probably less than.
you know, have a kid
Yeah.
right when they're 40?
I didn't want to spend,
Yeah.
so, no,
No, it looks good.
I don't.
Because I wasn't
I'm
sure if you
guessing
had the
1
personal
point
information, and that's what
I
I
do,
figured would take
so,
the longest.
I understand my thing, like, I
Yeah.
tried to overlay it, and.
And it didn't work, I totally got it, yeah.
Well, typically
Right.
two income families have less kids.
Thanks for coming, Fred.
You're welcome. We can get from Andy soon, huh?
Yeah.
You must have a copy
We'll
of
hear
one.
from him in
Is it
April.
That's what I figured, I tried to make him so he could tell me what's going on. you know.
So that's 0.4 kids.
Do you need your easel?
148, sorry.
Now, are they counting all the
Well, there's a lot of
living
people
as separate households?
Well,
Because
it's
that
an
could
individual house.
somewhat
Not
skew the
a
numbers.
Like the whole Regency is
Sure.
probably mostly one.
Yeah, there's a lot of work engineers.
And then you've got Manor, that would be, I don't know what they do, and that's not a house, I mean, that's not a, it's a rental. Yeah, it would count as a household, wouldn't it?
I got one that,
Alright, why not? It's an apartment.
Probably would, right? Yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
Sure.
If you weren't married, you were living in an apartment,
You're
you'd not be a household.
Just open
So there's-
it, shake it out. It's not as sturdy, but it's pretty good.
So you have to look for the.
We don't have, they don't count the dogs, so.
Maybe it's me.
Some of us, they should.
There's only 5,000 people in
I'm
Bolton.
here for a reason.
Yeah, we're moving on to Trondheim.
3 divided by
I believe
2.3.
it's gonna take it
Bolton
to
Office
mine.
Park.
So here it is, 19. You were right on
We're
it.
actually
I bet you
on
it's-
time. It's
Yeah, we're on
uncanny. It
time.
doesn't happen very
So
often.
is Mark Dibbs coming, or
He is
we're
not,
just gonna
no.
discuss?
We are just gonna discuss it
Sit
and
down and
go through
plow
it.
through the
I'm saying, it's going remarkably well organized tonight.
Yeah, good job,
Let's keep it
Erica.
rolling.
Let's try and be out of here by 10 latest.
So
I
Okay.
was hoping for 9:45 so we can go buy a Powerball ticket by
All
9:50.
right.
You weren't an economics student, were you?
It's a tax on stupidity.
It's just a dream.
$2 for 500 million?
I'll buy one, but it's a tax on stupidity.
I agree. I don't look until it's 500
I'm sure he
million.
knows it. Don't have either one of us lecture you on expected value.
Yeah.
You don't want to know.
On what? Yeah. I don't.
There's more, what did they say? There was more of a chance.
Struck
Yeah.
by-
Pretty much like living in a spaceship.
What's his name, the quarterback? That you would be him, marry a supermodel, and win the Super Bowl than there is in winning the Powerball.
Are you saying there's a chance?
You have a
saying I got a chance?
You got a chance.
Hey, somebody in Sterling just won a lot of money, right?
Really?
Yeah. They won like.
Okay, let's try and get out of here.
I found one issue.
Okay.
Okay, so we're discussing the special permit for, the draft special permit for the proposed assisted living facility at 580 Main Street.
I found a cut and paste there under decision. You still refer to the branch baking business.
Branch banking.
Under which condition? Or which
In
number?
the decision, in the intro,
I do.
special permit for a branch baking business.
Right here. Bringing this into 580 Main Street.
Yeah, not good. Okay.
I don't know how I missed that. Good.
I didn't.
That's what I just said. How did you miss it?
That's the only thing I found.
Page, there's no reference to 580. Is that right?
Oh yeah, she referenced 580 again.
580 is
Is
the
correct.
address,
Oh,
it's just
okay.
branch banking that needs to change to
Okay.
assisted living facility.
Good.
Well, good.
That's the only thing I saw. I'm done.
So,
The stuff that I questioned, is that changed?
I had sent you an email.
Yeah, I did, I
saying
got
which
that.
ones I had updated,
Yeah.
so, for
But
the
I
most
didn't get
part.
that. Are they looking at the updated ones then?
Yes, everyone's looking at the updated, except for you, I'm sorry. It's okay.
there's one here.
Oh, there is another one right there, perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
So these, the hours of construction, those are the hours that,
Our modified hours.
those are the hours that we set for, Century Mill.
Century Mill?
Yep.
Not
No.
for Century Mill, for Clinton Savings Bank. Century Mill, we did
Oh, really?
Saturday hours by,
Oh, special
special
permit.
approval.
Special
right.
approval.
Okay, well, this is, yeah.
Okay.
Too moved.
So should we just jump to the specific findings, or are there things before that that you want to
I
discuss?
recommend just jumping to the conditions of the decision. I think that's the important part of it, so.
Okay.
Well, still the date isn't right on the decision, on the first page, right?
So that you mean specific findings,
Oh,
or
No,
yeah,
under
'cause-
decision,
decisions?
shouldn't. On the very first page?
Yep.
Yeah, well,
Should
we
be.
haven't got to that date yet. It might be tonight, might be some other time.
Well, January 14th was passed.
But why change it until we know what it is? I know what you're saying now.
Yeah.
It is correct.
Okay, I highlighted that, so I'll make sure to update that.
Okay, so for number 4, under decisions, about light fixtures, if you could just, include, it's great, if you could just include, like, ornamental lights, sconces, that type of thing. So you have pole lights, yard sign lights, building sign lights, but if you could just add,
We say including but not limited to pole lights, et cetera, et cetera.
just that, whatever the sconce is on either side of the door and that type of, the more ornamental lighting.
Okay, I'll add that in.
Okay. The sidewalk. Which one does it talk about the sidewalk? Safe.
Number
Yeah.
7,
Yeah,
along
number
the
7,
frontage.
yeah. So I just wondered, what are the town rules about clearing your sidewalks?
To be honest
Are
with
they?
you, I don't know. I don't know if we
I don't
even
I don't
have
think we have
any.
enough sidewalks to have rules for them.
It's not, the
Yeah.
homeowner needs to clear the sidewalks in front of their house, but Bolton.
They did say at the selectmen meeting, just the most recent one, that there is a requirement for,
Just if you could look that up, and it'd just be great if their I imagine it's a commercial, it's a business, they're gonna maintain
It certainly
their
has sentence in there
sidewalks.
about,
If
Snow
it's
removal.
a town bylaw of some sort of regulation,
So
we wouldn't need to include it
Yeah,
here.
just if you can check on that.
You were just mainly concerned about the frontage sidewalk?
No, I mean, all the sidewalks within, but also the frontage ones.
So, yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's a business, so I would say that,
But it's like in Bolton, nobody is clearing sidewalks on Main Street. And it's understandable that the road just gets plowed into the sidewalk, but
right,
it would be nice, in this business district, if it's not in there, that they start, all the businesses that are coming in are clearing their sidewalks in front of there. And everybody, but.
So if we do not have a bylaw regarding clearing the sidewalks, do you want me to add a sentence that
Yeah.
says the applicant shall be responsible for clearing?
Maintaining,
Or maintaining
sweeping,
sidewalks, okay.
whatever.
Yeah, it's
Stipulated in the plan.
Right.
Maintaining the sidewalks.
Project shall be constructed whichever performs the layout and design shown.
Number 8.
Yeah, I have no issues.
Do we have any of their updated plans, or they haven't changed at all? Where is the dumpster again?
The
I'm just looking
dumpster,
at number 8.
I can grab the plans and throw them out here. It's easier if I just show you.
Okay.
Ooh, number 11, the Bolton Fire Department. I guess they all got that code.
And then while we're here, you can just show me about the tree protection for the existing trees that we talked about.
Dumpster should be fine right here.
Okay, so that's the dumpster, and that's the road.
Correct.
So they're gonna be doing this road to the end of their property line.
More than likely, right.
I just wanna make sure, that it's clear. Okay, so they're gonna put a stockade fence around, who's gonna be looking at that?
is there a special dumpster for medical waste? Or is it-
They don't take care of them. I mean, I know at my mother's, you have to remove it. You have to remove it.
So it's like,
Which person
it's a
is
service,
responsible for it?
Outside,
it's a service
No.
that comes and picks it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the daughter.
Yeah.
That's the service.
I mean,
They don't have I mean,
a
they're not,
hospital would be one
they're
thing,
not a
I mean, we could
hospital.
generate a volume, but,
they're like a private residence.
yeah. I
Some
mean,
people are
you
gonna
have
be
like
flushing
insulin
their
needles
meds
or
down
whatever,
the
but it wouldn't
toilet.
be a real big volume
Same as
even
you
over
do
the
at
course of a
home.
month.
Mhm.
But sharps and that type of thing, that you
Yeah.
have to remove it. I mean, each person's responsible. It's more like a home. you know.
Oh, I already underlined it on.
Even in assisted living?
Oh,
Oh, yeah. There's no medical
There's no
thing that's
nursing.
being done then. It's not like
What's?
a
that's a-
nursing home.
I figured out your system.
Look at it more as that they're getting more help with daily living, things like showers and dressing
Yeah.
and food and that kind of thing than requiring heavy nursing. So.
Right.
And then you wanted to talk about the trees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is, so the road, so this is the one that goes to the field. I
Right.
just wanted to review which one heads to the school.
Well, I don't know that that's shown on the plans. It's further. It might be off their, well, I don't know if it's their property or not, but.
Right now, it's like. Is
This road? Is that right?
Mhm. Just,
And then
Okay, just-
tree protection.
yeah. So which, you're just talking about trees?
I basically only outlined tree protection for this tree here that they're gonna maintain, just because
Mhm.
it's so close to the saw cut line.
Yep.
The rest of them, I mean, they're not doing any work in here, so I don't think there's any
Okay.
need to protect those trees.
Okay.
And then one question I did have for the board, we at one point during one of the hearings had talked about having them put in new trees to replace some of the trees that they need to take down to fill this parking lot. I didn't know how many we wanted to have replaced. I think there's 8 existing trees that they're gonna be taking down. In the permit condition right now, I say we're gonna replace 3 of them. I don't know if 3.
Isn't there like a rule, so many trees per spots or something?
It's 1 tree for every 10 spaces, but I think that's a different, I think this falls under a different bylaw. This is about replacing existing trees that are being removed.
So what is that bylaw?
It has to do with, let's see, under under the design review criteria.
Put trees here to delineate the open space that is that parking lot. Did they do anything to address that?
There are existing islands with the little trees.
Okay.
You know, their big concession was adding this sidewalk along there.
Where's the existing set? Isn't that one already there?
There was this one.
Got it.
So just having a nice one so that you're not
Okay.
wandering across this huge.
I love condition 27 where they can't use motor vehicles as fill.
So that's good.
I'm sure this is
Hey,
just boilerplate,
you
but
don't know about the dumps in Bolton, but
Your refrigerator
yes, we can tell you.
Phil, you should-
So, yeah, let's, is there a bylaw about that?
There is, it's under the design review criteria, section 8, B, and it just basically says the planning board may require that trees removed as part of the development be replaced on-site and off-site.
Okay, so
That's
let's have them replace, you know, all 8 of those on site, and if you can specify a caliper of 2.5 inches. So, you know, we're not having them map, usually they have you match the caliper, so if the trees.
Okay, what number are we talking
Oh,
about?
matching the count.
This
let's
is
say,
condition number 14.
Smaller diameter. Where do they have to put them? Wherever?
Well, no, in the condition I say along the edge of the parking lot.
Okay, cool.
Do you really want 8 trees around the parking lot though?
Oh, they're already there. We're on the smaller one. In the vicinity of that, you know, around or vicinity of.
Okay, so
that
then I'll
new
say the new tree shall be placed within the vicinity of the new parking lot for,
Mhm.
well, I was gonna say for shading.
parking. Yeah, no, they should be there for shading. I mean, if it's. Yep, okay, that's great. So just to specify a size, that they're not like too big. But you don't see any other kind of specimen trees like getting in the way, getting trampled during construction?
I didn't look that closely.
Okay.
We can look at the plans and see. I mean, I think most of the trees that are in the way are getting taken down.
Okay.
These ones here are in the pavement.
Like, are these new, is that a
That
new
one
tree
I'm
or
assuming
that's
is gonna,
an-
no, that's
an
existing, so
existing.
that one, may need tree protection. And we can also talk about this at the pre-construction meeting before, they
So
start.
it doesn't have to be all.
I don't think it has to be a condition, we can just say, you're protecting this tree, this could be a problem here, why don't you throw some construction snow fencing around that one as well?
Let's put it in.
Okay,
Just those two, if you can add.
which one, this one here, and this one?
Yeah.
I'm not
just-
sure if they're keeping that one, to be honest with you.
Okay, so that's shown as those light posts.
Let's look at the landscape plan.
light post tree, you get some shade from the light post during the day.
Right time of the day.
Okay, so they're putting one, let's see. No, it's pirate calorie pair.
So they're replacing
They're still
it?
using this. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's a new tree.
Alright, so we don't need to
Okay,
talk about that one.
so The only... So where is the line about the design review board's gonna look at material samples?
In there.
It's condition number 6.
Okay. Can you just include that lighting, you know, that the applicant will submit, you know, the lighting fixtures? Same language, the applicant shall submit all details for signage as well as building materials for the cladding, trim roof, just that they're gonna submit, you know, the detailed fixtures. I think that's it for me. And just under the gravel road, can you just make sure that's, you know, they're gonna do that work to the property line? So the whole thing with the parking for the Fulton Manor,
Yeah, we did this,
We
I
have
had
a-
made some comments and Erica incorporated them, had to do with more with the easement and the indemnification, just that there was some stipulation on when that would be finalized, because I saw that as kind of not tied up in the first draft.
Yep.
So that she did, and I think that was, there were a couple of other things that they were,
so the owners of, what, it's RCAP?
RCAP solution.
RCAP, are they drafting that?
They're not drafting it. I've asked Bolton Office Park to draft the language. So Mark said they would try and develop something in the next couple of weeks. I did provide in your packet the latest email correspondence between RCAP and myself. And basically it says, "Hi Erica and Don, just heard back from our insurance agent on accepting the 15 additional spaces. There would be no problem with adding in the easement to our existing policy. Along with our attorney, would like to see something in writing, especially the indemnification clause. The sooner we get something, the better. As stated earlier, we'd love to accept the 15 additional spaces, but are just covering our assets."
Cute. Very cute.
So.
So that's a work in progress.
So that'll get constructed in the same time as everything else? like-
Yeah, I've tied it to the certificate of occupancy, so
Okay,
basically I
great.
say they can't receive their occupancy until that's built. And then I've tied the, getting the draft language to a date certain, so I put in April 1st. I'm hoping they can get us that.
Mhm. Great.
You know, if we have issues with that at the end of the day, I did talk to Don about it, and if for some reason Bolton Office Park can't get the draft language, we can look to having town council put it together, so that way we can just keep it moving forward.
And I didn't get to see this, and they also, there's a mention that they're paying for the materials as well as construction.
I believe I put that in there,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, good. Because I thought that was kind of missing, because they said, oh, we're on construction, we're not paying for the
Right,
materials,
right.
yeah.
It does
they
need
did-
to be in there.
Yeah, any little way out, you know,
The applicant shall also provide materials and construct the
Yeah,
15
good.
parking spaces as a voluntary gift to Bolton Country Manor.
It's gonna be huge if you go over there and look at this now, I mean, with all this snow, God, you can't even get one car in there.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just
I mean,
an unusual time.
I don't know. I'm sort of wondering if this is like the norm, is gonna be what we're gonna see going forward with all this snow. Anyway, but it's a good thing from so many
Oh,
standpoints.
definitely.
I'm gonna keep my mailbox red in the springtime so that next time this happens, I can find it in the snowbank. I don't know how I'm still getting mail delivery.
I don't
You
either.
are?
It's kind of annoying. I've got like this teeny little opening. My door is all busted open, and they just keep on slipping. I'm gonna lose stuff.
I live up over a crest of a hill with a little bit of a turn, So every single winter they just take it out. So I just have like 3 or 4 $10 mailboxes, and every spring I put up a new
Yeah, there
one.
you go.
I learned the trick. It was the winter a few years back. 11 times DPW wiped it out because 11 times it snowed that year. They were batting 1,000,
Yeah.
but I figured out their trick. I'll explain that later.
But mine, so that there's a tree, so somebody's
there
really
you
gonna
go.
hit the
There you
tree, and
go.
then mine's just behind
That's
it,
smart.
and so
And
far.
you have to angle it too.
That prevents baseball bats, all sorts of things.
Yeah,
No, that's smart. It's very smart.
it took 10 years to figure it out.
I just buy a $10 mailbox.
So
Excellent.
what's the next thing with this?
So if you're happy with the way that it's constructed, we can vote or the board can vote, and then
So-
I'll just need to revise it, have you sign it and get it to town
So we're
clerk.
gonna approve it with your revisions.
Mhm.
Okay. I think we're ready. Are we ready?
I would make
Very
a
soon.
motion to approve the special permit findings and decision. I'm looking for a date.
Today?
I suppose. Yeah, prepared for the planning board on February 11th, inclusive of the revisions discussed tonight.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any against?
And it's unanimous.
Done.
Any news on operators?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They have interest, but I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
They said now 3.
Yeah,
They said that.
Well, everyone can learn from Terry. You have to come to every
Yeah.
You have
meeting.
to come to every meeting, you have to be, you know, you have to have, I think, an idea that people can embrace and be able to show to both, to all the parties that it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that came out of all of these different meetings.
For coming to every meeting.
You know what's gonna break my heart 2 weeks from now?
What will you do?
I don't know, I'll be having a beer or
Sure, we've
something.
got something exciting planned.
Well, if it
Almost
wasn't,
anything.
if it wasn't for you, you wouldn't have your 15 spots.
That's right, no,
Yes.
I'm thrilled, it's gonna, I'm, you know, short of having a dedicated senior center in the heart of, in the downtown Bolton,
Yeah,
this is, it's gonna make a big difference.
it's a good chunk of money.
Maybe
It's,
we could
it's nice,
Park up
yeah,
on
and
the
it's gonna
parking lot.
make, it's gonna make a
This
big
parking
difference.
lot provided by the efforts of
A group of dedicated, well, at least
a person, a dedicated
in
person.
person, yeah. No, it means so much. Can't tell you, I mean,
Great.
it's just gonna take a big risk, because even before this, to watch people walking, you know,
Mhm.
across the area, it's just, it makes so much sense. And I'm thankful to the board, thankful to Contact,
Yeah.
doing it, and to our CAP, I mean, everybody stepped up.
Yeah, no, I'm glad
It's a real
all
community
that
thing, you
thorny
know?
stuff was cleared away.
Yeah. So thank you
Because it
all.
was looking like no for a while.
It did, didn't it?
Like, we can't accept it.
Right.
well, hopefully everything will go smooth
Yeah.
with the language and the indemnification.
It sounds like people are on, you know,
I
wanna
hope
make
so.
it happen.
Yeah.
Just keep the,
Maybe you can eventually get something in the basement, ground floor.
I mean, you know, I look at, and I said this to the owner, it's not Mr. Gibbs, but, you know, they've got a lot of space at the office park too. It's not utilized. But, you know, we'll take every step.
I've heard they're getting a new tenant, so we'll see.
Well, that's good, I mean, business is picking up. Oh,
Yeah.
Business.
Is that a done deal? Are they moved in, or they just signed the papers?
Yeah, I don't know where they are in the.
It's a tenant to take vacant space, or it's a tenant to take the whole property?
No,
No,
vacant space.
to take vacant space.
Okay.
Fill up the
Alright,
unused
good.
space.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're moved in yet.
How many square feet?
I honestly don't know the details, I just know that I got information on the company and that was it.
A little operation, big operation?
Honestly, I really don't know
Nothing.
very much about it at this point. I just got the contact information, that was it.
So we just have one set of minutes to approve, and then we're out of here.
Yep. Who seconded the motion to grant the special permit?
Eric.
Eric did? Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, keeping us company.
I know, I can remember advisory meetings, well, we always had David though.
Is he still going to those?
Yep.
He's done. He came here a couple of times.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that, I mean, your articles weren't
Yeah,
as
right.
exciting this year.
Yeah.
Now there's only 2
No
of them.
medical marijuana.
Oh, yeah,
no
that's
controversy.
right. You're glad some of the things
Should
in the
be-
past.
Well, the Jake break thing got pushed off, so.
Oh, we never
But
talked about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
They're gonna put up signs just to try it. Please don't Jake break.
It's still in discussion, but why would we discuss it if it's,
Well,
Yeah,
just
it's
to
like-
close the loop because we
Okay.
had talked, but that's,
Hmm.
it's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, minutes.
yeah, no, we got feedback and made it stronger, and we'll see what happens.
And what about the commercial vehicle parking thing? Is that gone floating belly up? Or
Oh, we
what's-
we tabled that one a while ago, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of, here's some feedback.
What was the Jake break conversation?
Oh,
I
we
watched
missed
it.
you, thanks.
Yes, I was not there. Yeah,
You were in New York.
No, it's all about it. I wasn't there.
Conversation. We got that feedback from Chief Alfano about,
I remember
how
that.
do you enforce this? And so, Eric and I did more work on it, and, there is a federal guideline, I think it's part of the EPA, but there's a federal law about the noise, the decibel level that moving vehicles can make, taken at 50 feet. So, there's a website from from the Maine Department of Transportation just saying, if you're gonna do it, you need to peg it to the federal guidelines.
Okay.
And not just make up. So we added that, and what was the other thing that was
We
decibel
added
level?
language about
Yeah,
the sound meter, the decibel meter.
Yeah, so you need a
for
decibel.
enforcement.
So it just gets into like enforcement would mean that the police would have to have a decibel meter and be trained in the use, and the expense of that is one of the, I think Don's looking into that, but I think, what some people were saying at the second meeting about it is to kind of do a soft rollout where you just start, you start giving warnings to trucks.
So
that
people are not
really
opposed to it,
egregious.
but tabled for this year's meeting.
Well, the Board of Selectmen is still trying to decide if they're gonna sponsor it.
Okay,
So there've been 2 meetings.
okay, so it's not off the,
So one idea is just to put up signs saying, please be
yep.
nice and not use your Jake brake, and the other is to put up signs with a fine, and,
Can a citizen's petition create a warrant article that
yep.
the police will have to enforce?
There could be a citizen's petition, you just need 10 signatures, so if the Board of
Could be.
Selectmen don't want to sponsor
It
it.
sounds like if they don't sponsor it, there'll be a citizen's petition.
Yeah, so then, Chief Alfano is really strongly for, just putting up a polite sign, like,
Please don't do
don't
it.
use it, and so that's where we are.
Alrighty.
Decibel meters, you can get a guitar center, and it's really a matter of pressing a button, taking the reading. It's not really any training involved.
Let me tell you, you don't need a meter.
Yes, but
It's as obvious as.
But that was the other thing, is like, when you read the literature, it's not just,
May 28th.
most of them are saying that Jake, if you have good mufflers, if you have well-serviced mufflers, the
Oh,
Jake
heaters
brake
are
shouldn't
loud.
be that loud. But they're saying some truckers have like hot rodded, they've just
Yeah.
cleared out all the mufflers in their pipes, so it's
Yeah.
just blow, 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 and then other people aren't maintaining their equipment. So those are the ones that,
Should've,
rally the windows.
You should have bought in my section of town. I don't think I've ever heard one once.
No, there's no truck.
Well, it's like,
When a car in the middle of the day goes by, I'm like, what's that car going by my house?
yeah, I should have bought in your section.
I don't get it. What is that thing?
So to get a set of boomers in my car and then drive up and down the road all weekend.
Yeah. What is
So
going on?
this is
The only
from-
thing I ever hear is Devon's every now and then.
Yeah.
Training. That's the only thing.
That's the sound of freedom.
I hear the sound of freedom. Sometimes the sound of freedom is like grenade testing or something, and it shakes my house. sometimes.
That's the feeling of freedom.
It feels like freedom. It's a good thing I know is if we ever have an invasion, I can run
You know which way to head.
run right across the flats, get a canoe, cross the flats, and go home safe.
I wasn't late, was I? It just looked off.
Just cross the parts out that you don't like,
You can't approve it.
Yeah. The engagement was early.
send that back.
Oh my God, this is ancient.
I know, I
That's
apologize.
why you don't remember being so
I'm
late.
tested, yeah, I probably was late.
It's like the last thing, I think that was the way it used to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and
Bang through them.
get them done.
I don't think John reads them as critically as other things, so. Right?
I just scan them over for
all the
the most obvious stuff.
You send them an email?
Did I send it in an
The
email?
minutes? Yeah, you do. That's right, in the big
Yeah.
package. Yeah.
Alright, do you have a motion to close the hearing?
Make a motion, Make a motion to close the hearing?
Or close the
Close the
meeting, I'm
meeting.
sorry.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Condyne.